Alright, you're going to make a graph, and it's going to have some kind of a shape. And you're thinking, what do I put on the side and what do I put on the bottom? Just as an example, let's say we're doing fertilizer versus plant growth. Believe it or not, you can't just say, I'm going to put this one on the side and that one on the bottom. There's actually a rule. It's a convention. Um, there's a right way to make the graph. You're supposed to put the one thing on the side and one thing on the bottom, and these things are called the dependent and independent variables. And once you get the hang of it, it's really easy to figure out which one is which. And I just look at the name. Dependent depends on independent. So I told you that there was a convention, an agreement, kind of a rule that everybody follows. And the rule is that the dependent variable goes on the side and the independent goes on the bottom. So let's get back to our example of fertilizer and plant growth, and let's decide which one is which. What I like to do is I like to say them as a sentence. The amount of fertilizer depends on the plant growth. Does that sound good? I would say no. Let's try saying it the other way. The amount of plant growth depends on how much fertilizer you used. I think that sounds a little bit better. So that means if you were making your graph over here, what you would do is you would put the plant growth on the side because that depends on the amount of fertilizer you used. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to do a real one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scoot on over to Chrome here. I'm going to type in income versus education level. And I'm going to type in the word census because I think that the government keeps track of this stuff. Who makes how much? Let's see, education. How about this one? No, that's not exactly what I want. Let me go back. Income versus education. I won't just get rid of the word level. Yeah, there it is. I was looking at this earlier. Okay, so the government keeps track of who makes how much money. So I'm going to go to Michigan, and it says education, occupation, both sexes. So I'm going to click on this. So we're looking at men and women. And this is pretty small font. Let me see if I can make this bigger. There we go. And I'm going to look at people from 21 to 64 years old. So I'm going to look at everybody from no high school graduation, no diploma, all the way to an advanced degree. So let me take a screenshot of this, and I'll bring it back to my notes program. Okay, so here's the data that we got from the government. It keeps track of all that stuff. And we're going to have a graph, and we're trying to decide what are we going to put on the side and what are we going to put on the bottom. Well, what have we got? We've got income and education. And what did we already decide this? I forgot. If we didn't, I'm going to do it again real quick. So let's see. Your income depends on how much education you've gotten. I think I like that. Let me try and read it the other way. The education you've gotten depends on the income that you've earned. I don't think that sounds good. So that means that your income depends on your education. So if we actually wanted to make a really quick, kind of maybe ugly graph here, what would we do? Let's look at these numbers. Let's see, our smallest number, let's see, 21 to 64, 100% of people. Okay, so these are the numbers we're looking at right here. If you don't finish high school, so I'm going to say no diploma. That's going to be like a bar. This will be a bar graph, I guess. And then you've got, you finish high school. Then you've got some, I got to erase that. Oops. You've got some college. And then what have you got? You've got a bachelor's degree. And then you've got some kind of advanced degree, maybe a master's or a PhD or something. So what should I do on the side here? My smallest number is in the 20s, my biggest number is in the 60s. So let's do this. Let's say, let's go 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is going to be in dollars times 10,000. So 10,000, 20,000, all the way up to 60,000. So let's put these on here really quick. So let's say you don't finish high school. The median, that means the middle of the road, you're going to wind up with 25 grand a year. Then let's move on to finishing high school. So you get your diploma. That's a little bit over 30, so something like this a year. Say you go and you get some college education. You go to college for a while, and that's going to get you 35, a little over 35, so something like this maybe. And then let's say you go to and you get a 4-year degree. So if you go to college for 4 years, you wind up with 46.6, so that's a little over halfway to 50, so something like this. And then the last one, let's say you get an advanced degree, get your master's or a doctorate or something, so that's a little over 60. So this is a graph that shows you how your income depends on how much education you get. And look at this. Look at the way that this goes. That tells you that this is a direct relationship. And in other words, when one thing goes up, the other thing goes up. So if your amount of education goes up, then the amount of money that you're probably going to make goes up. So that's a video about dependent and independent variables and graphs.